Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining our webinar today. As Selling Partner App Store, we are kicking our first ever webinar series with our Amazon MCF experts and our partner developer Zentail today. As you may know, the Selling Partner App Store is a one-stop shop for Amazon selling partners to discover more than 2,000 trusted apps to help grow and manage their business. Today we will talk about how to address the challenges of multi-channel business per se, and address that those blockers and how to overcome them. And during the webinar, please feel free to type your questions on the chat box, and we'll be having a live Q&A session at the end, and we'll try to answer all of your questions. So without further ado, I will now give the floor to our Amazon experts, Rotem and Adam, to give us an overview of the MCF, and we'll continue with Zentail afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So hello, everyone. My name is Rotem, and I'm leading the partnership team for Amazon Multi-Channel Fulfillment, MCF. In Amazon, we love acronyms, so everything gets a name. MCF is a relatively new vertical within Amazon that basically allows sellers to use Amazon Fulfillment Network for their off-Amazon business. And we launched it because we saw a need among sellers that now expanding to more than one channel. So if historically sellers used to sell on one channel, maybe two, today we see even 3, 4, 5. And also sellers want to have their own website in order to build better connections with their end customers. One of the pain points for sellers is that now they need to fulfill these orders from all these other sales channels. So they need to have multiple fulfillment centers and logistics partners that will do the pick, pack, and ship for them to have inventory across all these fulfillment centers. And we say, why not to centralize it and really to help them meet the expectation of customers? Because many customers today expect to get it fast, on time. So really open the door for our network that we specialize in doing that exactly. And I had the opportunity to work with the Zentail team for a while now because we serve a lot of mutual merchants that are selling or wants to expand their business to a multi-channel business, but want to have one backbone basically for their business, which will be the foundation to scale. So they automate everything with Zentail and then also send orders for us to fulfill in an automated way. Hopefully today, between Adam's session and then Zentail and their demo, we will give you the right tools and tips to expand your business without putting too much effort and time on the logistic piece. Let us do it for you. So you can focus on marketing, on customer acquisition, expanding your brand. I'll give it to Adam, and I wish us all a productive session.
Thank you for that, Rotem, and thanks for the intro. My name is Adam Froelich. I'm also on our multi-channel fulfillment partnerships team. I've worked on our MCF team for about 2 years and have been at Amazon for a little over 3 years. So I'll go over just some high-level information on multi-channel fulfillment before we kick it over to the Zentail team. Feel free to use the question function, as Tuche touched on, to ask questions during the presentation, and we'll address them during the Q&A section at the end. Thank you again for joining. Amazon has spent over 20 years building one of the most robust fulfillment networks in the world, and we became who we are today in part by offering customers free 2-day shipping for their orders. Multi-channel fulfillment allows sellers to use this same network to ship their orders for their off-Amazon channels, including their own D2C websites, social media sites, and other third-party marketplaces where they sell. This allows businesses to offer fast, on-time fulfillment at a low cost to ensure your customers are shipped their products with the speed and reliability that they expect. We've invested over $30 billion building out the capabilities of our fulfillment network just since 2019, which now spans over 200 fulfillment centers and has allowed us to ship items to customers in as fast as 1 day. Our robust systems will move your inventory around the country and select the most optimal carrier to get your products delivered on time. Most of our fulfillment centers are operating 24/7, which minimizes downtime and allows for weekend deliveries. The vast coverage of our network allows you to not worry about capacity constraints in your own warehouses and ensure your delivery promises will be met even during peak seasons. To go over some of the benefits in more detail, you'll have the ability to offer your customers fast, Prime-like ship speeds. If you are also an Amazon seller or soon plan to be and use FBA, the same pool of inventory will be used to ship through multi-channel fulfillment. This offers businesses increased supply chain efficiencies as you will only need to send your inventory to one location to handle the fulfillment for all of your D2C channels. MCF also offers simple, predictable pricing that allows you to calculate what your shipping cost will be regardless of customer address. Our flat rate pricing comes with no hidden fees, so you can be confident in what you will be paying and what you should charge your customers. Feel free to view our full rate card in the handouts section of the webinar. MCF also directly integrates to the majority of the most popular website platforms, as well as over 25 different inventory management software solutions, including Zentail. Integration using an app or other software allows for a streamlined setup process and the ability to automate your fulfillment from the moment somebody buys from you. MCF provides accurate delivery promise dates that can be displayed to the customer, and we ensure we meet these promises on more than 97% of orders. In 2021, MCF launched the ability to ship using blank brown boxes, which helps protect your customer experience. At the time an order ships, a tracking number is generated, and this can be sent to your customers so they know when they can expect their shipment. In the US, MCF offers 3 different ship speeds you can offer to your customers. Depending on your requirements, you can choose to offer all ship speed options or just choose the ones that meet your needs. Standard shipment is the lowest cost option and will ship in under 2 days and deliver to the customer in 3 to 5 days. Expedited shipping will ship within 1 day and deliver in 2 days, which is closest to our prime 2-day shipping experience. Priority is the fastest ship option, and it can be shipped within 1 day and delivered to the customer in 1 day. Now that we've gone over some high-level information, let's dive into the specifics. To use MCF, you will send your full or partial inventory into our fulfillment centers to be stored. Note you do not need to sell your products on Amazon to use MCF. Amazon will receive and manage your inventory, and you will pay a monthly storage fee. Note that steps 1 and 2 are the same process for inbounding to FBA. So if you already have inventory on hand, then you're ready to proceed to step 3. Once a customer buys your product, a fulfillment order will then be placed. This can be done manually within Seller Central, or you can use Zentail to automate this process. Zentail will pull the orders from your desired sales channels and send them to Amazon for fulfillment. Amazon will then pick, pack, and ship your order to the customer, and a tracking number will be generated at the time of shipment. Zentail will pull this tracking information from Amazon and provide it to the proper channel, ensuring your customers have this information. Should your customer want to return that item, there is also an option to have the shipment sent back to an Amazon fulfillment center, where it will then go back into circulation if it's in sellable condition. By using MCF, you also have the option of displaying the Fulfilled by Amazon logo on your website. This can give your customers confidence that the order will be shipped to them in a timely manner. We also included this link in the handout section if you want to see what that looks like. We've spent today primarily talking about MCF in the US as it relates to the ship speeds, but MCF is also available across the globe in 9 other countries. To use MCF in these regions, you would simply need to send your products to the fulfillment centers in each of those countries to use MCF. And that wraps up my portion of the presentation today. So I hope you found that information helpful and informative. Again, that was a very quick, high-level intro. So feel free to drop questions in the chat. I'd be happy to answer them. But now I will pass it over to our partners at Zentail to give their product demo.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Amazon, for having us on this inaugural partner webinar. And a big thank you to Adam and Rotem and the entire MCF team for their support in helping make multi-channel simple for sellers. I love seeing our missions aligning, and it's never been easier or more valuable to go multi-channel thanks to Amazon. I'm Paul Capriolo. I'm the Director of Growth here at Zentail. I'm joined by 2 of my colleagues, Dan Sugarman, our CEO and co-founder, and Taj Singh, our Head of Product Marketing. A little bit about Zentail. We're the #1 rated multi-channel platform, supporting thousands of sellers, managing tens of millions of products, and driving billions in multi-channel sales. All day, every day, we're talking to sellers like you about multi-channel, and we're excited to share the data and insights that will help you make the best decisions for your business. A quick case study from one of our clients, Felina. Felina was working with a different multi-channel provider and spending a lot more time than their results were worth. After switching to Zentail, they were finally able to unlock multi-channel success while growing their Amazon business 7x. The catalyst for their hyper growth was twofold: getting their full catalog live on every channel with high quality listings, and a central system to operate and automate their entire business. So this is the story we hear most often from sellers. They had an idea, saw an opportunity, and through blood, sweat, and tears, they figured it out on Amazon. And that success generally comes from building a flywheel like this. The flywheel that self-reinforces and drives growth while decreasing input costs over time. Let's quickly review this. I think each step is obvious, but it's also helpful to look at it as a system. Starting with the top of the flywheel, high quality listings, right? That increases discovery, and discovery builds better rankings, more impressions. Better quality listings with better rankings builds customer trust. They understand what they're buying. The conversion rates on the product listing are higher, which also results in more sales, fewer returns, and an overall better customer experience. Those great customer experiences lead to more 5-star reviews, and ultimately the wheel starts to self-propagate, right? The better reviews lead to better quality listings, and on and on. So there's some obvious reasons to expand to new channels, but there's also non-obvious reasons too, so I want to share those. And success can only be measured against you, the seller's goals. So what multi-channel success is varies from seller to seller. So some of the main reasons to expand are to grow reach. Different shoppers and different types of shoppers use different sites. Growing sales, highly correlated with reach, but reach is a top of funnel metric, sales are bottom of funnel metric, so a lot happens in the middle there. Owning your brand presence, presenting your brand and your voice on different channels instead of letting unauthorized resellers potentially create negative customer experiences. Diversifying your sales mix. It can be scary to have all your eggs in one basket, especially since channels are constantly evolving and updating their algorithms. Building a moat. This goes back to the quality listing flywheel on the last slide. Being an early mover, getting 5-star reviews builds clout, trust, and helps you outrank competition. Reviews are the new brand reputation. In physical retail, traditionally, shoppers gravitated towards the brands that they experience and they trust. That trust has been now outsourced to other customers through their reviews and feedback. Kicking off unauthorized resellers. For brands, a lot of them come to us and they say, hey, we see people buying our stuff on Amazon and selling it on another channel. The listings stink, the prices are wrong. We're getting bad reviews and our brand is dragging through the mud. So this is another common reason to expand. And then finally, building a funnel to a web store, our D2C site. This is really the least intuitive, and often sellers' conventional wisdom believes the opposite, that expanding to additional channels cannibalizes web store sales. But check this graph out. As sellers add new channels, they see significant growth on their existing channels. This happens because the overall brand expansion is happening at a fast rate. New sales channels give you, the seller, an opportunity to build new customer relationships. And if you delight the customer and give them a good experience, they'll remember you. So how incredible is this? I just want to take a moment. We almost never hear sellers say, I want to grow my website sales, so I'm going to sell on new channels. But for sellers that have a heavy web store focus, it's some of the best marketing that you can do with the highest ROI. So we looked at some great reasons to expand, but there are also some great reasons to not expand or not expand yet. The primary one is you haven't achieved success on your primary channel. For most of us here, that's Amazon. If the business model doesn't work on our primary channel, it's not likely to work materially different on another online store. Our general rule of thumb, we say, is to get to about $1 million a year run rate on your primary channel before you start thinking about expanding, but your mileage may vary. You might be in a niche or whatever. Another reason is that you don't have time or resources to invest in a proper test. If you can't take your eyes off your primary channel without material negative impact, or you can't invest time and money, it might make more sense to focus on your primary channel. Anecdotally, imagine if you half-assed testing Amazon. Like, you didn't work hard, but you didn't, right? You worked hard, you overcame challenges, you committed and persevered, and that's why it's such a successful channel for you today. Product restrictions and business incompatibilities. Some sellers can't sell certain brands or products on certain channels, and they have different restrictions about what categories they support and things like that. So definitely something to look out for there. Can't fulfill orders. Much less of an issue now with Amazon MCF, but for channels that don't permit it yet, you'll have to find alternative fulfillment which comes with its own set of challenges. If you don't make a lot of your inventory available when expanding to a new channel, you can't really understand the potential of a new channel. And finally, can't manage complexity. Without the right tools and operations, it's not incremental work to add a new channel, it's exponential. It creates synchronization challenges and ultimately multiplies the workload more than it multiplies sales generally. Okay, So we've talked about the reasons to expand and not expand, but what does a successful expansion look like? Expanding to a new channel has really two main challenges: product data and fulfillment. For product data, it's taking your data from, say, Seller Central, rebuilding it, reconfiguring it across a substantial percentage of your catalog with deep item specs, or your products won't get discovered. There'll also be some large and some more nuanced differences between channels, requirement differences, categorization, attributes, valid values, and different ways to optimize from one channel to another, like earning badges. For fulfillment, you'll want to make inventory available to be able, as much as you can, to be able to offer a high percentage of your catalog for sale. You'll need to offer good shipping, fast shipping, which is one of the biggest drivers of conversion. And if you can use Amazon multi-channel fulfillment, that really simplifies things, as we heard earlier. So there's a lot of different channels to sell on. How do you pick the next one, or the one that's right for your business? Consider things like the scale of the channel, the demographics, the top selling products and product categories. The overall reach of a channel is far too generalized to make a well-informed decision for your business. So don't just look at something like site traffic. Another common pitfall that we see sellers make is trying to expand to as many channels as possible. Our data shows that the most successful sellers focus on the best channels and don't waste their time on the long tail, but valuably invest their time on the channels that matter. So most sellers coming from Amazon will need to make meaningful changes to their operations and processes to achieve multi-channel success. Some of those primary challenges are centralizing and synchronizing. For sellers that are managing product data, pricing, orders, inventory, things like that on the channel itself, whether that is on Amazon or maybe on a web store like Shopify, that won't work anymore. Multi-channel sellers really need a central platform to manage data, inventory, orders, all across all their channels in one place. Another challenge is automating manual workflows. Manual workflows don't scale when you do it twice. Multiplying your effort by the number of sales channels is a surefire way to make expansion impossible. And like I said earlier, learning the nuances of these new channels. There's a lot to learn about a new channel. Every channel has different requirements, different commission rates, different optimizations, different SEO, and they're constantly changing and evolving too as they update their algorithms. And finally, non-FBA fulfillment. 91% of sellers, Amazon sellers, use FBA, and most sellers use FBA as their primary fulfillment. If you are, then you might need additional fulfillment services and possibly additional functions like customer service and reverse logistics. Major shout out here to Amazon MCF, which solves this problem for channels that allow MCF fulfillment. It cuts down on the work, the risk, the complexity for sellers to going multi-channel, and makes inventory management the same as managing your FBA inventory. And I'd like to point out that one common mistake that sellers make is they usually like to test a new channel with a few of their top selling products. Oftentimes this doesn't work, and it doesn't provide a clear assessment of the opportunity. Different products sell differently on different channels. Demographics are different, customer behavior is different, algorithms are different. So it's really important to test as much of your catalog as possible to understand what a new channel can do for your business. So how do we approach multi-channel with our mission to make e-commerce simple? Zentail automates away almost all the product data and listing work by automatically building high-quality listings with deep item specs for any channel from one central set of product data with no mapping and no configuration. Nobody else does this. Workflows and automation across all channels and all products, so one action is positively impacting your entire business. And on the fulfillment side, we manage and synchronize any number of inventory sources, routing orders intelligently across all channels. We've also worked hard with Amazon MCF on our Amazon MCF integration and the processes there to meet other channels' requirements compliantly. Our shared goal with the Amazon MCF team is to make using Amazon MCF completely opaque to the customer and the channel. All of you are already selling on the largest channel, which you've invested in over the long term to learn and optimize. If you have to duplicate all the work you've done on Amazon for a fraction of the reward, it's going to be really hard to justify and see the ROI. But if your operations and workflows are centralized and one action improves all of your sales channels, then it's much easier to scale, keep complexity down, and ultimately achieve the ROI you want, which is why we say managing multiple online stores needs to be as easy as managing your Amazon business. So that's the end of our slides. We're going to take a couple minutes and show you a live demo of Zentail launch. I'm really excited about this. We've embodied all the best practices and processes that I just spoke about in these slides into an app that lets sellers take their Amazon product data and inventory to new online stores in minutes. This is only possible because of Zentail's unique product data capabilities and Amazon multi-channel fulfillment. We're putting the finishing touches on the product now. If you like what you see and you think your business would benefit from using Zentail Launch, you can get priority waitlist access by signing up at zentail.com/launch, and we'll post that link in the chat as well. It's free for 30 days, so you can pilot multi-channel painlessly. I'll turn it over to Dan to walk us through the demo.
And just to add to Paul, we're talking to sellers on a daily basis. Your feedback really, really helps us create the best product. Your pain points and understanding kind of where you guys are seeing trouble and where you guys are seeing success is what really helps us create the best version of what Zentail has to offer. So we're always curious to hear from you, and we'd love for you to sign up just to kind of provide feedback if that's you're limited to that right now.
Awesome. I am super excited to take you through our revolutionary demo. What you're going to be able to see today is how to take an Amazon store to be a multi-channel business to new online stores in minutes. What we're going to do is we're going to take our own Amazon store where we sell Zentail swag, and we're going to launch that on some new sales channels. So let's go ahead and get started. The first step here is to create a connection with Amazon and Zentail. This is an API connection, and this is what enables us to pull in the high quality listing content, as well as to pull in real-time inventory from your FBA stock with MCF. This tells us which is blank box compatible, and we're able to also send those orders in for fulfillment with blank boxes and compatible carriers like USPS and UPS. So that way your customers will receive a blank box and not in an Amazon van. So I'm going to go ahead and create this connection now. I'm going to stop sharing my screen to not share any password information.
So if you guys have any questions during this time, please feel free to kind of put it in the chat box, in the question box, and we'll love to get to it at the end.
And we're back. Cool. So right now what we're doing, we just established a connection with Amazon, and now we have requested all of the listing content. So Amazon is building us a report. We're downloading that content into Zentail, and we'll be able to pull in all of that high quality content into a central catalog. So what people, what sellers used to have to do, what we hear all the time, is that it was really difficult. You built up super high quality content over many years on Amazon, and to then pull that information out was basically impossible. You might be able to do some things to get your title and descriptions, but to get the full catalog was extremely difficult. So what people were doing to build a central catalog was extremely manual. There's many ways that people were launching on new sales channels, but not only building the central catalog was extremely manual, but then actually getting the content up onto each of these new sales channels. So what used to take at least months to launch on a new sales channel and multiplied by each sales channel now takes minutes.
So right now we're just waiting for Amazon to send us our data. This should take no more than another 30 seconds or so. Again, if you have any questions, we'd love to hear them during this time.
Hey guys, I did see one question come in that says, how do you define real-time inventory, and how often is that syncing? And does the inventory sync take into account pending Amazon orders?
Yes, real-time is within like seconds. We know there's race conditions between different channels, and we do reserve inventory for pending orders as well. So it's fully real time, and Zentail specifically has additional like thresholds and things you can set to make sure that you don't ever oversell.
Awesome. So back to the demo. So now we've pulled in all of the high quality listing content. What we're seeing now on this step is how all those listings look on our new online stores. This shows us everything in green, fully ready to go. We can launch those listings right now. Everything in red is something that maybe needs some new content that wasn't existing on our Amazon store. So at this point, we would take, a seller would take the opportunity to optimize their listings. I'm going to go ahead and come in here and do that to show you exactly the type of content that we've just pulled in. I'll pull up a product and show you the catalog data. This is a nice white t-shirt that Taj is modeling for us here. We can see, we got the title, we got the description, we got the bullet points, but we got a lot more. So right away, we know exactly what this product is from all that deep content we have on Amazon. We know the Zentail system will automatically know that this is a men's fashion t-shirt. And from that categorization, we can offer a number of functionality that's super helpful for sellers. What a seller can see here is what are the listing quality attributes. These are the attributes that help products sell. So we can see, things like, how do you care for this? This is a machine wash product. What department is it? All of these attributes are super important for sales. I'm going to go ahead and at this point, a seller can say, hey, what's my missing data that might create sales on new sales channels as well as Amazon? I see a couple here, so I'm going to go ahead and fill them in. The material is 100% cotton. Color map, this one is one that sellers have told us time and again, super important attribute to have filled in because it's a standardized color that powers things like the filter system, the SEO, to make sure that your product is shown when a customer is targeting a specific type of product. So now we've improved the quality of this listing a little bit. You got to see a lot of the different attributes we've pulled in. We also pulled in all of the SEO around this product. All the search terms are now here in Zentail. We also have categorized this product for each of the new online stores. Not only do we know exactly what category this goes into in each online store, but we know exactly how to send all these attributes to every online store, even though every online store has a different set of attribute names and different set of valid values. The backend Zentail system does all of that mapping automatically, so you never have to figure out exactly where to put that content. I'm also going to show you some of these other products that are not yet ready to sell. So we can come in here and see, okay, what is the exact error? Why is this not able to list today? And we see, okay, we need to have a UPC. This isn't a hard requirement on Amazon. You can use brand registry, but it is on some other online stores. So I'm going to go ahead and put in a valid yet fake UPC. And what we will see is that the product will then be ready to list on the new sales channel. We see that erase from this filter and fall into the green section. So now we feel pretty good about our content. At this point, we say, okay, we're ready to launch. Let's go ahead and launch on some new online stores. I'm going to click skip for now. And at this point, what we would do is create a connection with some of these new online stores. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing again for a second so I can plug in our credentials. And we'll come back in and we are ready to launch. So the only thing left to do is click this launch button. And now we've done it. At this point, Zentail is syncing all of that listing content with all of your new online stores. All of those listings are going live, and we're also syncing inventory data to all these new places, and you're actually ready to take orders, and those will be automated with MCF. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up our own Zentail online store. This is where we sell Zentail swag. We've now imported all of this catalog data. We can see things like this material, 100% cotton that I just got in there, now is fully up on this new online store. And you can go ahead and check out. And actually, my colleague has already placed an order to avoid not sharing my screen one last time. I won't put in address information and credit card information. And shortly, we will see right there, this order has now popped into Zentail. So this is automatically sent to MCF. This order will be fulfilled. We actually ran a practice dry run of this demo yesterday, and even though we selected standard shipping, we got this nice unbranded packaging from MCF delivered within 1 day with our shirt inside. So thank you very much, Amazon, for the great delivery speed there. And that concludes our demo. So now we'd love to hit all these hard-hitting questions that everyone might have at this point. Please feel free to continue to ask questions in the chat.
Thank you for that presentation and demo. That looked, I think, really insightful, and that's something that can really address like the challenges of multi-channel selling. So thank you for that. Yeah, we do have so many questions, and yeah, we've been trying to also address them personally, but there are really some, I think, high value questions that we can ask overall. So does Zentail also upload images and videos?
Yeah, absolutely. All of the image content that you have on Amazon is automatically pulled into Zentail through this process. You also have the opportunity to add new images once you're on Zentail, and that will automatically get up on all your sales channels. Videos typically goes through a different path on the APIs, on the content APIs, just like you have, you know, the advanced brand content on Amazon. There's similar on other online stores. Today, it's not possible to do video content through Zentail, but that's something we're looking at for the future.
No, amazing. And a really related question to that also, is A+ content supported?
Yeah, so almost all sellers today using Zentail also use A+ content. Typically, they upload that specifically into Amazon because that is not a really centralized piece. It's very specific to Amazon, but you know, using Zentail does not overwrite any of the A+ content on Amazon. So it's something that everyone uses, but since it's so specific to Amazon, it's typically best to do that directly in Seller Central.
Okay, amazing. Can Zentail handle over 500K ASINs?
Over 500,000 ASINs. The short answer is yes, but catalog sizes of that large, you know, they do hit into you know, different pricing tiers. So you would hit some overage on the inventory side, on the catalog side piece of that. But you know, reach out to our sales team. We can walk you through exactly what something like that would look like.
Yeah, Zentail launch might not be the best product for you, but we definitely have, you know, a myriad of customers who have, you know, something on that order of business.
Okay, great. There's I think one repeating question about MCF that we can also touch upon. It's many of our attendees are asking whether it's in the US only or other countries. I think we have touched upon this briefly, but Adam, if you could also kind of give us a overall info about the availability of MCF in other countries.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So yes, it's available in US as we touched on, but it's also available in UK, EU. The EU countries are Germany, France, Italy, and Spain. And then we also have it in Australia and Japan and North America as well. So Canada, Mexico. And I think that's all 10. So to use MCF in those regions, you would just need to inbound inventory to FBA for, you know, .ca or .mx, .jp, whichever region you're looking for.
Okay, amazing. So for Zentail, there's a question says, I'm an existing seller. If I sign up with Zentail, would it optimize existing listings?
Awesome. Yeah. So just like we saw in the demo today, it shows you exactly where you might have some missing content that is really important for your listing quality. So if you're a new seller, we'll show you all of that great information. If you have existing catalogs on some of your other sales channels, it'll super optimize that with all the great content. One of the most common things we hear from sellers is that they've invested a lot more into their Amazon content and they have multi-channel. There's a number of ways that they try to get up on multi-channel to test it. And typically it's really difficult to have the same quality without spending the same amount of time, which is basically impossible for a seller, right? So all of that, all of your catalogs on these other online stores will be totally optimized towards what you had on Amazon after launching with Zentail.
Great. Thank you for that. Yeah. So the next question is, does Amazon shipping feed into their system and show the orders fulfilled?
Yeah. So if you log into Seller Central, you will be able to see the orders as soon as they're sent over from Zentail. You'll see them coming in, the order status there. We showed the same status in Zentail. So, I mean, if MCF wants to jump in on this one too, but I know we've looked at the internal tools for what a seller sees on Amazon Seller Central.
Adam.
Yeah, I'm muted. There we go. Yeah, I think you basically covered it. Yeah, so it'll populate in Zentail first, kick over to Amazon, and then it'll be kind of in like that pending processing stage before it ships. Once that order does ship out, that tracking number is generated, and that triggers Zentail to mark it as shipped and grab the tracking number.
Great, thank you for that. I hope that answers that question. So next question is about, again, Zentail listings. So does Zentail copy also more complex listings, such as those for supplements?
Yeah, we have a number of supplements sellers today, super popular category. What we saw today was just a t-shirt smart type, because that's what we sell on our own Amazon store, and that's what's the easiest to demo. But we actually have over 10,000 different smart types that each has all of the valid values. So there's a lot more deep item specs when it comes to things like supplements. There's a lot more requirements in some of these other categories than there are for t-shirts. But not only does our system understand all the attributes you can send, it understands the exact ones that are the most important for discoverability, for specific product types, for listing quality, that is both going to increase conversion rates, but also discoverability. And it also shows you exactly what the requirements are for each sales channel that you're connected to.
Oh, great. Yeah. So we had a similar question, but maybe this answers, but just for the sake of it, for what types of products does Zentail have smart types created?
It's across every category. I don't think that if there's any gaps, we're not aware of them. We have sellers in every category today. We've supported, we support billions of dollars of e-commerce, multi-channel e-commerce today. It's been a pretty fully built out, centralized brain that everyone has access to. And we encourage you to try the app. It's totally free to try. You can download your own data. If you don't have to believe me right now. Just go ahead and play with it, see what your data looks like there, and let us know if you find anything that isn't up to your specifications. We dare you.
Yes, we're in waitlist right now, but when we go live, you'll get an update and you'll be able to go and test all that out. But you will have priority access just for joining the webinar and being part of our early access folks.
Right, thank you for that. So there's a really good question. Can I do channel-specific updates so that not every update on Zentail will affect what we have on Amazon?
That is a great question. Yeah, we have overrides for all the sales channels. With this specific, with Zentail launch, we actually don't send data back to Amazon. It's more built to be around your current Amazon content. When you upgrade plans, then and you really do everything from a centralized place in Zentail, that's when you'd be sending data back to Amazon. But also you might want different content on different places, so you have the ability to override the specific content that you want to go to each sales channel.
Okay, great. And what are the cost structures for Zentail for Amazon sellers?
Awesome. Yeah. So with the launch product, it's free for 30 days. Once you're ready to go live, it's $50 a month, and that scales up with your non-Amazon GMV. It's 2% of the GMV off Amazon. And then if you're a larger seller, if you want to have some advanced functionality, if you want to use one of our enterprise plans that we've built our brand around, that pricing is totally dependent on your business size. We encourage you to reach out. Those plans start at $500 a month.
Great, thank you. So we do have a couple of questions on MCF. I also want to kind of answer all of those. Yeah, so about MCF. So if I have stock in Germany FBA, can I use MCF to ship to Spain? This is more Europe related, but maybe Adam, you can give an overall answer.
Yes. So so the EU, yes, if it's within EU, they consider that not an export. So that would be fine. Yes. But with Brexit and everything, you couldn't go from UK to Spain.
Great. And what happens if the shipment is lost or damaged? Do we have any regulations around that for MCF?
Yeah. So if you do find that a shipment was lost or damaged, which happens as transportation, you can submit a seller support case to request reimbursement for that. So they'll give you back the value of the item if it was found that the carrier kicked it during the delivery process or something like that.
Right. And does MCF support like large items such as like sofa size items?
There are large and oversized tiers that we do support. It'll be just important to do a cost calculation to make sure that makes sense for you, because there will be a pick, pack, and ship fee, but there's also the monthly storage fees for FBA as well. So if you're already selling these on Amazon, and that makes financial sense for you, then it would make sense to just continue to ship them with us and for your other channels. But for something that's overly large, like a couch, sometimes it doesn't make a lot of financial sense to inbound to an FC, pay to store it there, and then pay another shipping charge to the customer. So you might just have to do some math to figure that out. But we do support oversized tiers.
Great, thank you for that answer. I think that answers a couple of questions we received around MCF. For Zentail, should I test with my best sellers? Why should I list my whole catalog?
Yeah, I think we covered that a little bit. It's simply because different products sell differently on different channels. If you just throw a few hooks in the water, you don't really get a strong representation of the opportunity. If the channel, the competition is different, the way the algorithms work are different, the customer base and the demographics and how they search for products is different. So it's really, if you really want to understand how successful you can be multi-channel, you want to put as many hooks in the water as you can. You want to list your entire catalog if possible.
Yeah, this is not anecdotal. We've seen with our customers that when they list the majority of 80+% of their catalog, they see a much higher lift in their GMV.
Yeah.
And that's quantitative data, and so that's where we've kind of derived our understanding.
Great, thank you for that. So we do have some follow-up questions. Does Zentail support multi-channel and multi brand websites?
Sorry, I think the question was, if I understood correctly, is it multiple online stores? Does it support maybe multiple of the same type of connection?
And then multiple brand was another part.
I think multiple brand websites, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think depending
Amazon
on
and several Shopify websites, the clarification.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The short answer is yes. You can add as many of the integrations as you need to within Zentail to manage all of your different online stores. There's a number of larger companies that are on different types of setups. When you get into the aggregators, those types of companies that use Zentail, a lot of times they have different brand teams with their own Zentail accounts. That way they can sort of segment ownership and have just a specific sales channels for that brand team. And they might manage 5 to 10 brands per Zentail account. It really depends on the setup. For something like that, you could just use one Zentail account and push it everywhere. There's different ways that different people like to set that up.
Yeah, and there's no limit on the number of integrations that you can manage. So 10 Shopify stores, 100 brands across 10, whatever it is, we support it.
Great. Yes, so we have questions coming in. So can you have different prices for one item on multiple channels? For example, changing what's the selling price on one specific channel and making it different than the others?
That's a great question. We highly recommend not doing this. Price parity is actually really important for maintaining your listings on all of your sales channels. All of the major online sales channels, all of the major online stores they look around the internet to find what you're selling your products for. So if you're trying to sell it cheaper somewhere else, then they're going to remove your listings and suppress you and take negative action. So we strongly recommend that people don't do this. We know that a lot of people like to do this because your fulfillment costs might be different channel to channel, but there's a lot of complexity even in your costs. So we encourage you also to look at your advertising costs, all those other pieces before making a choice like that, because it can sort of destroy your ability to go multi-channel before you do. All that said, in our Zentail launch product, you do not have that opportunity. Price parity is totally enforced across your sales channels, but on our enterprise product, you have all the flexibility you desire around price management.
Great, thank you for that. We do have multiple questions around opening accounts and whether Zentail does that for the seller or seller needs to do that. So I'll just address them real quickly. Do we need to sign up for an account on each of the channels we want to use before we start with Zentail? And the other question, do you need to have all of your multiple stores open before starting with Zentail, or can you add channels to Zentail if you open more? So these are some of the questions.
Yeah, these are great questions. And I mean, we've heard this a number of times. It'd be awesome if we could totally automate the application and you know, onboarding process for all the online stores. The truth is today, you know, it's a little bit complicated to start with a new online store. Everyone has probably done this with Amazon, but you have to have things like a bank account for the deposits on all your sales to go into. So you need to sign up individually to get that account before starting with Zentail. But also, if you just go ahead and use Zentail, we have links that you can apply with Zentail. A lot of times we can get you to the front of the line on your application process, things like that. But yeah, there's like business information you have to share there, and there's typically an application process for a lot of the online stores. You know, some of them you can just sign up and go.
And the other part of that question was, once you're using Zentail and you're continuing to expand to new channels, you just plug those in. Those are just new integrations, and that'll still draws from the central brain of Zentail.
Yeah, great. Thank you for that. Does Zentail support multi-language content for different countries?
That's a great question. In the same way that we have overrides for your different sales channels, you can take advantage of that to change content. But right now, Zentail is extremely U.S. market focused. It's something that we're working on, that we want to enable, make it even easier to manage across countries. But today we're very focused on the U.S. market.
Yeah, looking forward to those next steps. Really exciting. Does Zentail offer custom integrations? Our inventory management system, their systems, currently is not supported.
We do. Yeah, we have an open API. We have a specific API just for inventory integrations. It's one of our most popular you know, use cases on our API. Super easy to do. Those integrations, I think, are some of the fastest to get up and running with Zentail. Yeah, we also offer some out of the box, you know, warehouse management system software, but a lot of people, I would say most of our enterprise customers do take advantage of the APIs in some shape or form.
Okay, thank you for that. So I have a couple of questions on the MCF as well regarding the available channels that MCF supports. Is there a list that sellers can access?
We don't have just an exhaustive list today. The main requirement is that, you know, if it's a third-party marketplace, each one will have their own requirement, but the one that's kind of the most important is, can you ship on either your own carrier or Amazon's carrier account? So there are, you know, some out there that are like a drop ship model that MCF may not be a fit for. But if your marketplaces do require, you know, blank boxes, we covered that today, that we can ship using blank boxes in the US. Other regions are on our roadmap. And also in the US, we have the ability to disable Amazon Logistics as a carrier. So if you didn't want an Amazon van dropping off for a particular marketplace, we have the ability to do that as well. So I hope that helps, but we don't have an exhaustive list of where you can and can't today.
Thank you for that. So yeah, about Zentail, so there's a different question, a good one. Can we manage customer feedbacks from all channels on Zentail?
Customer feedback, so that's typically handled on the channel. I don't know, so I guess I don't fully understand the question, if it's to, I guess, request customer feedback or to report, I guess, inaccurate customer feedback. Typically, I think those are the main use cases I know about personally, and typically that would be handled on the sales channel.
Maybe like the customers are maybe asking questions or like sending messages. So maybe if Zentail can provide like a unified platform for all customer questions, maybe.
Yeah, that's actually a great request. It's one that we don't support today. I think people typically, they install something. There's a lot of, I think, support softwares out there that integrate with all the places have all the great functionality around ticketing. Today we don't have that built into Zentail, but that might be a good avenue for us in the future. We love the creativity on the requests.
And I will also add that while we don't like aggregate that messaging, the customer support reps that of the brands we do work with, they'll be in Zentail all day. They have an ability now to look at all orders across all channels and really understand like what's going on. So they don't need to bounce around between channels.
Yeah, and then on the order management side of things, like if we showed it quick on the demo today, but an order came in, right on that order, you can write comments. Your colleagues can see those comments. You can have a conversation. You can create alerts for yourself. Let's say on a back order, hey, check in with the carrier tomorrow or something like that. So you can keep track of your work there, but not so much on the like ticketing system messaging side.
Yeah, these are very like fruitful feedbacks from our attendees as well. Maybe they can shape the future of the product. So
Yeah.
Thank you for all of your comments. Keep them coming. I know we have a couple of minutes left. We do have some more to answer, so let's try to cover that. What if I already have a listing on different channels? How can I link my inventory with Amazon so Zentail fulfill the order?
That's a great question. I think that's super common on certain online stores. People don't want to actually overwrite that content. There could be a number of reasons why they want to do that. I think it's more common on certain online stores than others. So that we've actually gotten that feedback quite a bit, and that's one of the first things that's going to be in the new in this launch product, where you're actually going to be able to choose whether or not you want to create and replace those existing listings, or whether you want to create the listings from Zentail. So you're going to be able to do that with Zentail on launch.
Okay, thank you for that. And do the prices on Zentail remain same for all platforms?
Yeah, pricing isn't based on how many channels you sell on. I think that was the question.
What if you don't have your inventory by Amazon, or you lose your Amazon account? Can you still fulfill using Zentail to other stores?
On Zentail launch, the demo we gave today, that one's really built with MCF in mind. But on all of our enterprise plans, you have full flexibility on all your fulfillment. You can plug in whatever WMS systems you want through the API or through our existing connection. You can create all sorts of rules based on your inventory, how you want these things to be fulfilled. So like on this online store, I'd like it to go in this order or something like that. If you sell out on the first one, then we'll still be syncing inventory, and you would just fulfill from the next priority warehouse.
Okay, thank you for that. We are almost time. I think we covered most of the questions. In that case, we thank you all for your participation in today's webinar. I think it was a very fruitful session, and we got amazing questions that also help us understand some of the blockers you're facing, and hopefully we can address them together with our partners. So I want to thank you, the MCF team, for their presentation, and also our partner developer Zentail for being with us today and having us kind of address these like multi-channel blockers, and hopefully their solutions can help you address your blockers and expand your business.